Alright, welcome back to Exercise Science. Today we are going to be taking a look at one of the units within our Anatomy and Physiology section, and we'll be focusing on the rib cage today. Alright, let's get started. The rib cage is obviously a large bony structure that's designed to prevent injury to the internal organs, and it is made up of a number of smaller bones. First off, we are looking at the sternum. The sternum, as you can see, is a large bony plate at the front of the rib cage, which is quite often referred to as the breastplate. The sternum is made up of three different sections, and those are the manubrium, the body, and the xiphoid process. Now, along with the breastplate, or the sternum, we have a number of ribs. There are 12 sets of ribs, 24 in all, 12 sets down each side, left and right. Now, these ribs, if you count from top to bottom, you will see that there are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ribs, which are referred to as true ribs. And the reason these are referred to as true ribs is that they all have a direct connection with the breastplate at the front. Now, beyond those 7 true ribs, there are 5 false ribs, and the 5 false ribs you will notice start at this point. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you'll see another one in behind. These are all referred to as false ribs, and the reason for that is that they do not have their own direct connection to the breastplate or the sternum. They are all individually connected via that one cartilaginous strip you see right there. Now, of the bottom 2 false ribs, we have 2 that you can see more clearly from this view. These 2 do not have a direct connection to the breastplate or sternum at all, so these 2 are referred to as floating ribs because they float independently at the front. Now, if we continue on further with our investigation of the rib cage, we will see some features that are going to be important to us. First off, we're going to be looking at a specific feature of the rib itself, and here we have an example of a rib. And the first feature is the head of the rib, and this is the bulbous section at the end, which does indeed connect with the vertebrae at the back. Part of that is the neck, and you can compare that to the neck that we have. We all have a head and a neck, and the neck is obviously the thinner area that connects the head to the rest of the body. Extending further, we have facets of vertebral body, and these are 2 grooves which you will see right at the end of the rib. These grooves are designed to allow the rib to articulate with the vertebrae at the back. The opposite end of the rib is a flat, blunt end, referred to as the chondral end, and you can see connections of the chondral end of the rib with costal cartilage, and that is simply a flat butt joint that allows the ribs to connect to the cartilage which connects it to the sternum. Now, in between each rib, there is an opening, and that opening is referred to as the intercostal space. And the intercostal space is there to allow our rib cage to expand and contract when we breathe, inhale and exhale. Now, the last 3 features you're going to need to know for the rib cage are the sternocostal joint, the costochondral joint, and the costovertebral joint. And these 3 joints are all clearly visible on the diagram you see on the screen. The sternocostal joint is any joint between the costal cartilage and the sternum itself. And you see a number of these joints right here on the front view of the diagram. The costochondral joint is a joint between the rib itself and the chondral cartilage. And you see examples of those. And the final joint is the costovertebral joint, which you cannot see very clearly on this picture, but any joint between the ribs and the vertebrae along the back of the spinal column, those are referred to as costovertebral joints. So your job today is to investigate further the rib cage, the bony structures, the functions, and the features that we've indicated. And if you take a look in your coloring books on page 30, you'll be able to further investigate and color in the parts you need to color in, and we'll be quizzed on that tomorrow.